All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. Thanks for taking your valuable time to be here. As I always say, we appreciate each and every one of you for taking your time to jump in on whatever we're talking about, fitness and nutrition related on a weekly basis. A lot of our clients stay in touch with us through listening to this podcast too. So, hey, we appreciate all of you. Ready for today's sponsor?
Okay.
We're sponsored by Chicky Salad.
What?
That's what I call it anyway. Chicken salad. Why don't you talk about this chicken salad you've been whipping up for us? You made it for the first time when we were out in the camper last week, and you made it again.
Can we start this
week.
Over? I don't think you should ever say chicky salad again.
I like to say chicky salad.
I've never heard you say chicky salad.
Yeah, you have. You just heard me
You just
say
heard
it.
but you're like, I like to say chicky salad. I've never heard you say chicky salad.
I haven't been eating a lot of chicky salad lately, so I haven't had a chance.
I'm about to vomit. Stop.
Tell everybody about.
I can't even talk about it.
It's good.
It is good. Not the term, though.
Okay, well, get over that part. Tell everybody your secret recipe.
Chicken.
You can tell we do not have a recipe and cooking podcast here, but I made chicken in the air fryer, microwave, convection oven combo unit when we were camping, and that's what you used.
No,
you got
I
a
got
rotisserie
chicken the first time. It's
Right.
it's basically you can get it was actually. Did you like it better with the rotisserie chicken?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Or like a shredded chicken from like a Instapot or something. It might be better. But anyway, it was chicken, celery, an apple, golden raisins.
And the original recipe
Is it pecans or I always get those
pecans? Yeah,
crushed like really, really, finely crushed pecans. And then the first time we did like a mayo sour cream combo. And then this time we've done Greek yogurt. And I don't know which one's better.
Did you still use some sour cream with the Greek yogurt?
No, because the Greek yogurt has like both flavors in it.
Some kind of onion in there?
Yeah, there's some chives, there's tarragon, and some lime juice.
And by swapping out the mayonnaise and sour cream for 2% Greek yogurt, it boosted up the protein a lot and cut the calories way down. And some lime juice in there too.
Yeah, the first few times I used real limes, and this last time I was out of limes, so I used some like that concentrate, and I think it's better with the real limes because you get a little bit too much lime with
pretty potent.
Yeah, with the juice concentrate that they give you.
If you're following
crazy with it.
But I'm sure the recipe called for like one chicken breast for like 4 servings.
Yeah, I loaded that sucker up.
So of course quadrupled because if we're going to have this as our protein source in our lunch, it needs to have a legitimate amount of protein in it. So
I like it as a lunch for hot months. Something cold. We usually eat lunch pretty late in the day after we've worked out, and I'm just like, I'm not cooled down 100%, and I'm not ready to eat like a big hot meal.
Big bowl of chili after your workout.
Even like chicken and rice or something like that. I don't know. It gives you everything you need. You can put a little avocado on it for some fat, and it's a complete meal in itself. You don't even have to I don't put it on bread or anything. I just eat it out of the bowl.
Because it's got the apples and the raisins and all that stuff in there.
Celery.
So thanks for sponsoring chicken salad.
Oh gosh, thank you.
I'll never call you Chicky Salad again.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a Q&A episode for you today. Thanks to those of you guys that submitted questions. But I want to talk about something real quick that's been on my mind lately and sent it on email about this morning. The concept of simple scales and complexity fails. And simple scales. And when I say scales, I mean it's something that you can build upon so it can get bigger and bigger in your life.
Okay.
Like if you think about a business and you say I'm trying to scale my business. That means you're trying to go from a relatively small business to a big business with more revenue, all that kind of stuff. So when it comes to our health and fitness, we want to take that same principle and use it with the things that actually matter with getting in great shape. And we're going to focus on the simple things that we can scale in our life to be on autopilot, repeated over and over again across the weeks, the months, and the years.
Okay.
And avoid the things that are tempting to jump into just because they're complicated. Now, the common thing that people mess up with this is that just because something is simple doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Sometimes it's easier to look for a complex solution that you feel like is going to be the missing piece that this is going to unlock the potential I've been missing. This is where challenges that have a million rules come in. This is where complicated morning routines or biohacking and all these things like a checklist. I got to go through this whole checklist and this is going to finally make the difference. Those are really tempting things because they're super clear directions and they almost feel like you're on this challenge. And if I can just be good with this challenge for a certain amount of time, I'm going to finally get the results. Forget all that. That stuff is too complicated for you to make an integral part of your lifestyle. Therefore, it's going to peter out over time and you're never going to be able to scale it large term into something that like is going to be a new part of your identity. Whereas if you can nail these simple things that actually do get the results, those really are things that can become part of your overall lifestyle. So resist the urge to jump into the complicated things that you see your friends and family doing and things you see on TV. Embrace the simple things like understanding how much food you should be eating, the right amount of protein you should be eating, the right balance of whole versus, whole unprocessed foods versus the amount of junk you can allow yourself. Simple things like eliminating the all or nothing mentality, filling your head with positive content. These are the simple things that you can scale and make a huge part of your life and get huge results.
Okay. Nice.
Boom. Hold on, let me pick the mic up so I can drop it. Okay, that being said,
all right.
Why don't we get into some of the, do you want to say anything about that?
No.
All right, let's get into some of these Q's and A's then.
I'm going to start with one of my own questions.
Okay.
As we were talking about the chicken salad recipe. Did you used to hear that if you ate celery, it was like negative calories because you took more energy to chew and digest?
I definitely heard that. And I think it was.
Do you know any truth?
I don't know if it was celery. I remember
it was celery.
Iceberg lettuce. People said that about too.
I've always thought iceberg lettuce was just like water.
It is mostly water.
Not that is water, but it's just like so full of water. But what about celery?
There is no such thing as a negative calorie food.
I didn't think so. But I just remembered that as I mentioned celery, that people used to say like it was a negative calorie because it took so much energy to chew and digest.
Right. I mean, but this brings up the fact that different foods do have a different cost to them in calories to digest. Remember, you can break down all foods into protein, carbs, and fat. It's not about like how long does it take you to chew or how hard is it to chew. It's about how much energy is required by your body to extract the nutrition out of it once it's in your stomach. Protein has the highest cost in calories to digest. They call this the thermic effect of food. This is where I'm out of breath because I'm drinking an energy drink today and I'm just like on number 10 over here already.
Golly, just started that thing.
This is where the concept of the meat sweats come from. You go to like the Brazilian steakhouse for dinner and you just drench your sheets at night because your body
sweats are not a thing.
There's no such thing as the celery sweats. Protein has the highest thermic effect, which is one of the reasons that a high protein diet is beneficial for fat loss. Carbohydrates have the second highest thermic effect and fats have the lowest. Another reason that a high fat diet is counterproductive to most people's physique and performance goals.
Okay. So no need to go ham on some celery.
Not unless you like it.
To negate the pizza that you just ate.
Right. If you have pizza with celery on it, is it a wash?
All right. Back to some real questions. Any thoughts on using creatine to bulk? A buddy's kiddo has an insane metabolism and is struggling to make gains.
Good question. I really like this one. I feel like something is like making noise on this table.
Yeah,
Can you hear that?
It's my microphone, I think.
Okay, maybe it's your wire over there.
Yeah.
Okay, the question is creatine good for bulking if you have
creatine to bulk?
If you have a fast metabolism, like you're doing all the things, but you're just not gaining weight, you're not building muscle, all that kind of good stuff. Now, to answer this question, we just have to look at a couple different things. Number one, what is creatine and what does it do in the body? Essentially, creatine allows you to do a little bit more work every workout. Helps you replenish energy during your workout a little bit faster than if you only had a base level of creatine in your body. You already make and store creatine in your body and you already get it from protein-based foods that you eat, but you don't naturally get as much as you can store. So if you supplement with it, you can basically top off your stores and take advantage of all the benefits of creatine by being full of it, essentially. But what it does is just like give you a little bit of a performance increase every workout. So it doesn't actually cause you like immediately to build more muscle and strength. It's a cumulative thing. But for somebody who's a hard gainer, which is what we're talking about here, like somebody who has a fast metabolism and struggles to build muscle and put on size, we have to look at total quantity of food first. They need to be in a bigger calorie surplus, giving their body the nutrients it needs to build the actual tissue. You know, the creatine and the workouts that you're doing is kind of like providing the stimulus for bulking up, for gaining strength and muscle, but without adequate calories to support that stimulus, it's never going to happen. So if you have somebody who, struggles to gain weight because they're just always kind of doing this thing and they're fidgeting and they just kind of run kind of hot, they're just going to have to eat more food in addition to training hard to get to bulk, to gain muscle, to build strength, that kind of stuff.
That's what I was thinking. We don't know who this is, but I mean, the way they phrased it, a buddy's kiddo, I'm picturing this is probably like an 18 or 16-year-old that is just like probably sleeping a lot and needs to just eat a ton of food in order to make gains, as they said.
Yeah, because you or me, if we want to go into a lean bulking phase, we might only need to eat in a 10 or 15% calorie surplus to do that without gaining a lot of fat. So this person who runs kind of hot and their metabolism is adaptive and just seems to burn off whatever they throw at it, they're probably going to have to start at a 25% calorie surplus just to start moving the needle. You basically have to outpace your body's natural ability to adapt to the amount of food that you're putting in.
And great ways to do this are to just create bigger meals. Like just like when we're trying to lose weight and we don't want to like remove food, I like to make smaller portions. I'll take less rice. I'll take, change up my portions instead of remove a whole category of food.
Yeah.
Opposite here, if you're trying to gain weight, bigger portions of meat, bigger portions of grains, bigger,
This is where like the whole like starting strength Mark Ripito weight gain thing for hard gainers came in, where eat your normal food but drink a gallon of whole milk on top of your normal food for the day.
Can't stomach that. Just
Yeah, because I think that's like 4,000 calories just in the milk alone. So
right. you can get the same effect by just increasing your meal portions.
Right. So creatine can help, but total quantity of food is going to be the main thing to focus on.
All right. I have been hearing about meat-based protein powder. Does it have any advantages over whey, like less volume for more grams of protein?
I kind of forgot about meat-based protein powders because like carnivore is so popular right now that meat is at the forefront of people's minds. So this person's wondering like, okay, I see these carnivore style protein powders out there. Are they better than traditional whey protein? All right, so from a bioavailability... Well,
let's talk about what it is first, because I think a lot of people might not know what you mean by this, by a meat-based protein powder.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so all protein powder basically just gets its nutrition from a source, and then it's processed down into a powder form by removing all the water and probably some other constituent parts that don't need to be in, that aren't protein, and then they're turned into a powder form, hydrolyzed, and then you can add water to reconstitute them. And you can make protein powder from a lot of different things, from pea, from rice, from eggs, from bones, from milk, from a lot of different things.
So what are these made from?
So a meat-based protein powder is actually made from animal protein, like usually a lean source of animal protein.
Okay.
The thought of that kind of grosses me out, to be honest.
Like turkey protein? Like turkey protein powder?
It's usually beef. I don't think I've seen turkey protein powder out there, but that's what it is. It's basically broken down from meat.
Okay.
So when we look at a protein powder, we want to evaluate two things. What does it have in it that isn't protein? Because if we're supplementing with protein, we want to make sure that almost all the calories in it are coming from protein. What is its bioavailability? And by that, I mean, what's its amino acid breakdown? Because not all protein is created equally. Some proteins, like collagen protein, are lacking in the essential amino acids that actually cause you to build strength and grow muscle. So we want to make sure that a protein powder that we're supplementing with, it covers all the bases. Luckily, since meat-based protein and whey, which is another animal-sourced protein, come from animal sources, they both cover the same amino acid profile.
Okay.
So a meat-based protein versus a whey-based protein powder are the same nutritionally from an amino acid perspective. The thing I would watch for is, was this protein powder made from a lean source of protein? And the way you're going to check that out is just by looking at the nutrition facts. Make sure the fat grams are like 1 or less, 0 basically, and that there's no carbohydrates in it either. There's no reason that an animal-based protein powder from meat should have carbohydrates in it. Now, the advantage I'd say to a meat-based protein powder is that there's never going to be any calories from carbohydrates. If you look at a cheap whey-based protein powder, it could be made from whey protein concentrate, which still has a lot of the sugars from lactose in it and some of the fats that are naturally occurring in dairy too. Whey protein concentrate, like I said, is kind of cheaper, so a lot of companies will use that. Or they'll use a blend of whey protein concentrate and isolate. Isolate means that the sugars and carbohydrates have been removed, and they'll mix them together. Or you can buy a pure whey protein isolate, which is going to have essentially no calories that aren't from protein. So all this can be figured out just by looking at the nutrition label on the actual one that you're choosing. So there is the advantage of a meat-based one is that you don't have to really worry, are there other calories coming from carbohydrates, whereas you have to be a little bit more diligent with a whey protein. One more thing is that some people just don't tolerate dairy.
Right.
So a whey protein concentrate that still has some of the lactose and carbohydrates in it may upset people's stomach, whereas a meat-based one may not.
The only thing I was thinking about is the flavor. I've never seen one of these, or have you ever seen one or tried one?
I never tried one because it kind of grosses me out.
But I'm just thinking about the flavor of the flavor. Like, how are
Surely
they going
they
to make
flavor
it
them.
like a
Chocolate?
or vanilla? Because when I've always opted for a pea protein because whey does hurt my stomach. They have to add a lot more sugar to these to make them taste good. Like they wouldn't have to in a whey. But how are they going to flavor these meat-based proteins?
I would guess that if they don't want to add more calories from sweeteners, they would just use stevia or sucralose. And then the chocolate flavors don't have any calories either. I don't know.
Yeah.
If somebody out there has one and wants to send me a serving,
Send me a serving.
hit me up. I'll try. I'm willing to try anything.
I'm curious
once.
if anybody's tried one and they like them and how they are flavored.
Right. But if you're thinking about it from the perspective of like, I'm going to look like the Liver King if I eat carnivore protein powder, not going to happen. You need steroids for that.
All right. Best part about working from the camper. Hardest part. Most fun part.
What was the first part?
Best part.
Best part?
Best part.
I mean, the best part is really probably just like that it lets us take advantage of the fact that we have an online business and we can work from anywhere we have a cell signal.
Yeah, like the last trip, we were able to like have a great view for our work. We're sitting there watching, the bay. We're watching fishermen, those guys who go out in the waders, just things like that.
And it breaks up the monotony of the day too. Like, we're like, even though we work for ourselves and have an online business, like we have a pretty regimented schedule that we stick to every day, and just being out of your home element, like it breaks that up. And
just being in a smaller space, you kind of need to get out and stretch your legs for a little bit. Like here at home, we have an office that's separated from our house. Like we just naturally get in a lot more steps because we have a bigger property to walk through. So we'll be like, opt to take the dogs for a 20-minute walk a few times a day to just get out and stretch our legs and see something.
Yeah, I'd say that's one of the positives and the downsides is like you could end up being a lot more sedentary working from an RV
for sure
all day,
especially if the weather was not cooperating with you.
Yeah, but it makes us be intentional about getting out and getting our steps in. Sometimes at the end of the day, we're like, oh man, we got some ground to make up here.
Right.
Because you could be like, quote, active working in your camper all day and look down and you have like 900 steps because it's just not that big inside. The bathroom is 8 feet away instead of 30, 40 feet away.
Although
like
in
is here.
This new camper, I was able to, you like in the little guy, I would just be like marching in place. If like we got to the end of the day, I'm like, I haven't moved because the weather has been bad and we can't get outside. But in this one, you can at least like pace back and forth a little bit more. We actually did a pretty good little workout inside of it. I mean,
shuttle sprints.
No, I was able to get like a pretty good workout with some push-ups and some squats and some band work within the camper.
Yeah, I was
for
impressed.
this last trip. Yeah. A
What was
little more
the-
room to move.
Was there one other part of that?
Most fun part. And I think what you said in the beginning of just being able to be anywhere that has internet signal.
Yeah, which isn't everywhere.
Which is not everywhere.
We're working on that.
Yes, that is tough, and sometimes I'm just like, it's 2023. It really does surprise me sometimes to think of how, like, in fact where we live does not have the best internet signal, and these places that we go, you look up online, yes, it has internet, but that usually means it has internet right there at the park office, and once you get back into the park a little bit, there's no good signal, and it really shocks me about still where we are today, like that.
If you live in an
signal
urban
is lacking.
environment, you take it for granted.
You
that's
do,
for sure.
and we've come when we lived in Idaho. We were in a very urban environment. And we like never did. I mean, actually, at our house, it was great.
Yeah.
If you drove 15 minutes away from our house, it was 0 cell signal.
Yeah.
And I was always kind of like thought that about Boise, was like everything is concentrated right there together.
Yeah.
But
so if you have any tips for us, we're looking into better options for internet, and we have some leads. But if somebody out there is a digital nomad, then let us know what you do for internet. We'd love to know.
Yeah, it always seems like there's a cell signal. It's just we just need like a little bit of a booster.
Yeah.
I'm just using terms I don't even really know what this is, but we need a boosted cell phone signal because we use our hotspot.
We need to wrap our antenna in aluminum foil.
And we just need to get like one more bar usually to make things happen.
Remember when cell phones had the antenna on them that you could pull up?
Yeah.
It's like
you're not getting.
hang
on.
Let me pull this like 3 inches closer to the antenna and see if that.
Okay. Whose music could you listen to on repeat and never get tired of it? That's funny.
You go through phases for sure. Maybe like with one particular song where you're like, I really like this song right now, and I'm going to play it over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, kill me now.
Right now, my current is Band of Horses.
Really?
Like I get into, it changes all the time. But I think, when we were in Nashville, we went to one of those like used record stores, and I got 2 of their records, and like that's what I've been like going to for the record.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
They are good, and it's just like
What about timeless stuff though, like that you could just always go to and never get sick of?
Go ahead, you.
I don't know.
Like,
I couldn't really think of a good answer for this one. Well, I mean, honestly, like if I could just pick one artist that I had to listen to over and over again, it might be Dave Matthews Band. I mean, just the catalog is so big, and we were so into it for so long that like it would be like reliving it at this point. I'd probably get sick of it eventually, but I mean, I used to listen to their live concerts, trading with people and like listen to the whole thing and be like, oh, there was a little something different in this concert. So maybe I could get back into that thing. Like probably where I'm at right now, the thing I could listen to all the time and not get sick of would be like lo-fi radio on YouTube or something like that.
No words, just like kind of a beat.
Right. Like music to work by.
Goodness. So it's a lot about where we are right now. No, I think for me, it definitely changes. Like you said, all the time. Like right now I've been going to like, I'll put on Band of Horses, it'll be like, I'll be in like a Shaky Graves, hit. And I'm like, that's all I want to listen to. And then it just
as long as it's not New Kids.
For me, mine just moves all over. All right. What are some common traits / habits that your most successful clients have in common?
We actually have a few podcasts devoted to this, but the most recent one was episode 261, where Haley and I and you talked about like, I think we each picked 2 clients that are killing it and talked about, we asked them like, why are you killing it?
We reached out to our clients and said, why are you so successful? Share your expertise with others.
And you could just go and listen to all of the episodes of 5 Minutes with the different clients that we've interviewed for our YouTube channel. And basically they tell you all their secrets of how they're able to stay consistent and get great results. But I think the point is like, this is a good question because success does leave clues. There are common things in people who get great results with their fitness. And probably less of them have to do with like their technique, the brand of their weights, their gym setup, that kind of stuff. And it's all stuff that goes on up here between their ears. How do they make their fitness a priority amidst a busy lifestyle? how do they avoid making excuses
Yeah.
and find a way to stay consistent with their nutrition and their training? How do they practice something is better than nothing and avoid the all or nothing mentality?
I think one of the most ones I can think of is it's a calendar item for them. That doesn't mean necessarily like it is on their calendar, but for a lot of people it is on their calendar. So, they know the days that they work out, they know the times that they work out, and that is a scheduled event. It's not something that they hope will happen that day. It's a scheduled event in that day. And I think that makes them, anytime you have a scheduled event on your calendar, that makes you stick to it. You're like, okay, we're going to record the podcast at 10 a.m. That's on the calendar. Let's get ready. And it's time. Let's go.
The opposite of that would be like, we ask somebody, when do you work out? I work out Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. That's my schedule.
Yeah. What time?
A less successful person says, I try to fit it in, throughout the week.
A week. Yeah.
And then, I try to get caught up on the weekend on weeks where I'm, inconsistent. So like you said.
And, back when I owned the gym, there were specific class times. And I think that helped people stay. That was a calendar item. If they wanted to make it to the class, they had to have that calendar on, item on their calendar to get to the class on time. Now that we work out in an online environment and it is more up to us, I think that's the key to being successful, is that it stays on your calendar and it's still an item that you're, you have it. It's a priority for you.
And a lot of that goes back to like, what is the reason that you want to do this in the first place?
Right.
How powerful is your why? Is it just because you want to weigh less or because you want to live to 80 years old and kick butt?
Can you grab your phone and look up? Haley sent us a really good item to share, which goes along with this question that I want to.
This is from one of her clients. She said, school has completely thrown me off. It's hard finding time to get my workouts in, but I made it happen. I used to stress eat, and I found that I don't do that now because I have a plan and a habit.
A plan and a habit, and it's a planned thing on her calendar. This particular client has 5 children. I think under the age of like 11 that she takes care of all day and homeschools. So
and she's
enough said on that.
Yeah, all of our excuses are invalid.
Finding the time. And she did a recent 5 minutes with, if you want to look this up, this was a great one, Rachel, 5 minutes with Rachel. And she was very inspiring to talk about how she manages to stay consistent while taking care of 5 children. And her thing was that she's gotten her family on board. Yeah. They're all supportive of her. They know mom works out at this time. Yeah. We're going to be doing these other things right now. Her husband is supportive of it. Yeah.
I would even add one more thing to what makes common things with successful clients is they're not fighting against people in their lives that are constantly trying to sabotage them.
Saying oh, come do this instead, or let's go here and
let's enter a pizza eating contest instead of working out. Right. You're gonna have a really uphill battle if you can't get some support around you.
Yeah, for sure. Because if you have the best laid plans in your mind and you're like, okay, I got dinner, it's almost dinner time, I'm going to start to whip something up, and someone else is like, let's just order pizza tonight. I think it's easier to be like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Last one. Every time I try to lose weight, I end up getting stuck about 5 pounds from where I want to be. Any advice to break through?
This is a complicated one. There's all kinds of it depends. Like if I could know more of the details about it. Like the first thing I'd want to know is why the 5 pounds?
Right,
what is the goal? Is the goal realistic? What do you think is going to happen if you do lose another 5 pounds? That's probably the first place to start. And then the second thing is the reason that you get stuck at the 5 pounds and don't get past that is because whatever you've been doing up until you got to that place is what it takes to get to that place. And now you've found what it takes to maintain up into that level. Now, if you want to push past that, we have to look at a different set of circumstances and actions and commitment on your part to level things up to make the push to the finish line if the goal truly is to lose that 5 pounds. So what you did to get there is not what's going to take to get to the next level. And with that comes some awareness and some pontificating in your own mind about, is it going to be worth the level of sacrifice that it takes to get to that extra 5 pounds of weight loss?
What is this extra 5 pounds? Is it going to be like, get to a goal weight that I used to be, that maybe not even be what you should be anymore? Is it to like see ab definition? What are the things that are leading you to think that this weight is the goal weight, is what I was asking.
Yeah. And if the things required to get, let's say you decide that it is what you want, and it's a realistic expectation of getting to that goal. Now the question is, are you willing to spend more time working out? Are you willing to spend more time walking? Are you willing to be more tedious with the nutrition goals that you have? Are you willing to sacrifice more social occasions to get to that goal? Because if you're not willing to do those things, now we have to go back to the fact that your goal isn't actually lining up with the level of sacrifice that you're willing to make. And we got to change one of those two things. You're just going to end up feeling like you're failing and going through this like cycle of never really reaching your goal.
So without knowing all the details, let's give some actual practical advice though. I do think that what you said about the steps is a great way to get unstuck. So adding in some extra activity out, whether that be, like say you're usually getting around 8,000 steps, let's go up to like 10 to 11 a day.
Yeah.
And see where that pushes the needle. Anything else on that side?
Yeah, I would look at how often you're eating out at restaurants and cut that back to almost nothing. If you're getting
take full control of what you're eating.
Right. If you are eyeballing, if you're tracking your calories to do this and you're eyeballing anything, you got to be more precise.
And this should be for like a limited time while you're finishing off this weight loss.
Right.
But then I was also thinking on the other side, like if the 5 pounds is something that you're just like, oh, this was my goal, but you don't really kind of know why that was your goal, like thinking through some other things that you could think about that could be your goal, like how are clothes fitting compared to like what you use, how they used to fit, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like taking some progress pictures if you've had some previous ones and looking at progress pictures now. Do you work out regularly, and are there achievements that you can track to see like, okay, I'm actually getting stronger. Maybe I don't need to like go down 5 pounds. I'm actually like increasing my muscle size because of my workout. So there, those are some kind of things to think about. Maybe that this last 5 pounds is not absolutely necessary. Yeah. There's some other things to track.
And just like a couple more practical things that can really help. Like if you're doing all that stuff, but it's still not working, how much are you sleeping?
Yes.
That has a huge impact on fat loss. Not that sleep causes fat loss, but the trickle down effect can be huge too. Also changing up your training. Like if you've been doing the exact same thing for a long period of time, changing out your exercise selection, changing your rep ranges,
barbell.
Changing over to digital barbell. These can be things that can help push you to a different level too. Yeah. So basically to sum it all up, what you've been doing up until this point is getting you to that part of your journey where you feel like you're getting stuck. So if you want to get past that, something has to change.
I thought of one more thing for the question above about the most common traits that successful clients have. Successful clients that work with a coach specifically is they keep their coach involved.
Yeah.
I think that is the key to so many of my successful clients is I know exactly what's going on with them every week. I can adjust their schedule. I can give them travel workouts. I can just this made me think of it too. It's like if I'm I want to lose like this last 5 pounds, I can put on their calendar like what were your steps every day, like
step up your level of communication with your coach.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
All right.
Those are the Q's. Those are the A's. I'll just mention one time here at the end, registration is about to close for Digital Barbell Body, our 8-week full body fitness program. The program starts on Monday, September 11th.
We got a bunch of people ready to roll.
I'm excited. We got a good group. Yep. So you can just head to digitalbarbell.com/body, look at the details. But let's go into the holidays with a bunch of momentum and progress instead of feeling like we're digging out of a hole.
It's spend the next 8 weeks getting fitter before the holidays hit. This program will end in November, before Thanksgiving, before all the holidays ramp up. So you'll roll into the holidays fitter than ever.
Let's do it.
All right.
You guys have a good day.